we're diving into a case that could really shake up the leadership of a major American city. You've got the mayor of Atlantic City and his wife, who's the superintendent of schools, and they're both charged with abusing their own daughter. It's a legal and political firestorm, and it all kicks off with their really defiant response to the whole thing. Absolutely not. That's what Mayor Marty Small Sr. said, point blank, when he was offered a plea deal. Just 2 words. But with those 2 words, he turned down an offer to stay out of prison and chose to fight it out in court instead. It is a massive gamble. He's putting his freedom on the line, and really, the entire power structure of Atlantic City. So what exactly was this choice that Mayor Marty Small Sr. and his wife, Superintendent LaQuetta Small, were looking at? Well, the state came to them with 2 very, very different plea bargains. It really forced them to weigh their careers, their freedom, and their family's future all against each other. Okay, so check this out. The deals were just worlds apart. For the mayor, they offered probation, so no jail time, if he pleaded guilty to aggravated assault. But, and this is a huge but, he'd have to give up public office forever. For his wife, though, the offer was way harsher. Plead guilty to child endangerment and get a 5-year prison sentence. This kind of split offer can be a legal strategy, right? It's designed to put pressure on one person to take a deal to maybe save the other. And they both said no. By turning down the state's offers, the mayor and his wife are basically saying, "We'll see you in court." They've committed to fighting every single one of these charges in a very public trial. So, what are they actually being accused of? I mean, to really get why the Smalls would risk everything to go to trial, you have to look at the specific and pretty disturbing allegations that are laid out in the court's probable cause affidavit. The allegations against Mayor Small they're severe. He's accused of hitting his daughter with a broom so hard she passed out for a moment, threatening to, and this is a direct quote, earth slam her down a staircase and grabbing her head and throwing her to the ground. And this part is absolutely critical. He's also accused of telling her to twist up her story for investigators. That's where that witness tampering charge comes from. And for Superintendent LaQuetta Small, the allegations are also about severe physical abuse. She's accused of punching her daughter multiple times, in the chest and mouth, dragging her by her hair, and hitting her with a belt on her shoulders hard enough to leave marks. So those really disturbing claims from the affidavit, they're the foundation for the whole criminal case. Now let's take a look at how those claims get translated into the formal charges the Smalls are now up against in court. Okay, here's the breakdown. You can see they're both charged with endangering the welfare of a child. But the mayor, he's facing a much longer list of charges, including terroristic threats, aggravated assault, and that really serious witness tampering charge. And this has become a huge point of conflict. Superintendent Small's lawyer has actually argued that her case is being unfairly tangled up with the more shocking charges against her husband. 13. This number right here could be what decides the entire case. The prosecution has 13 audio files, and they allegedly capture incidents of abuse as they were happening. And get this. These secret recordings were reportedly made by the daughter's own boyfriend. And here's the kicker. A judge has already ruled that those 13 recordings are legal. They were obtained lawfully. This is a massive win for the prosecution because it means the jury is almost certainly going to hear this potentially explosive evidence during the trial. But this story doesn't just stay inside the family home. No, the investigation has pulled in another key public figure. It connects the alleged abuse directly to the leadership of the city's school system and brings up all these questions about a potential cover-up. So, the Smalls' daughter says she first reported the abuse to officials at her high school, and that's what brought the school's principal, Constance Days Chapman, right into the middle of this. But prosecutors say that instead of reporting the claims to law enforcement like she was supposed to, she tried to hide them. And for that alleged cover-up, Principal Days Chapman is now facing her own set of very serious charges. As a school official, she's what's called a mandatory reporter, which means she's legally required to report any suspected child abuse. The state says that by not doing that, and by maybe even actively working against an investigation, she's guilty of official misconduct and hindering apprehension. For her part, she has pleaded not guilty.
Okay, so with the plea deals thrown out and charges filed against 3 public officials, the stage is now set for a series of really high-stakes trials. So here's a quick roadmap for what's coming up.
Things are really going to heat up this fall. On September 29th, the principal has a key pre-trial conference, and that's when a new judge will take over the Smalls' cases. Then, the trials kick off. Mayor Smalls is scheduled to start on November 10th, and that's followed by his wife, Superintendent Small, whose trial begins on December 1st.
And that really brings us to the final, crucial question, doesn't it? The mayor and the superintendent have rejected their deals, they're heading to separate trials, and now their fates and the future of their city are going to be decided in a courtroom. So how will the verdicts in these incredibly personal and public cases define the next chapter for leadership in Atlantic City?